Welcome to my classroom. My name is Henry Rowe. This is my micro teaching assignment for EDU 1107. I will be teaching today the stages of moral development by Kohlberg. So when I set up my class, when they first come in the classroom, we usually have bell work for them, and it's usually pertaining to their interactive journals. Once they get done with that, I'll sit them down, get them ready for the class. I'm going to group my students into male and female groups, meaning that they're all male or they're all female groups, and there's a reason for this. The first thing I'm going to hand out to them is each group's going to get a copy of The Lady or the Tiger. All right? They're going to be asked to read it and then answer the question at the bottom of the short story. Basically, the story goes that there was a semi-barbaric king who lived back in a certain time. All right? And his way of doling out punishment was he would get the sentenced, or the people that were accused of being guilty of something or another, into an arena with two doors. Door one would be usually a tiger, all right, and door two would be a lady. If the guilty picked the door with the tiger in it, he would actually die. The tiger would kill him. If you picked the door with the lady in it, he would automatically marry that lady, and he would be granted pardon. All right. So the story goes that a man falls in love with the king's daughter. He comes to find out about it, gets mad about it, puts him into the arena, and while the guy's there in the arena, he looks up at the princess, and she actually points to one of the doors. Okay, he goes up to the door. Before he can open it, the story stops. All right, so the students are going to be made to discuss in their groups, which door did she pick? Did she pick the door with the beautiful lady in it, or maiden, or did she pick the door with the tiger? I would say that as you answer this on the questions back on the discussion, I want to hear your answers and let me know what you said that she picked. I first read this story when I was in junior high, and at that time I had a different opinion than I do at this time. So this leads us right into, after the discussion on the story, I will hand out, actually the students will use their Chromebooks to research Kohlberg's 6 stages of moral development. All right? And the reason why I tie this story in with the stages is because it's basically the same theory. Kohlberg took a group of males at a young age, between 1 and 9 is what they said, and he asked them questions. All right? He asked them moral questions. And I'll get to one of those questions in a minute. As they aged, he asked them the questions again. What happened is that during this time, their answers started to change. So you come with moral reason and moral behavior, all right? And what's the difference with it? Kohlberg states, or asks the subject to provide reasoning to his moral dilemma questions. The questions ask, does moral reasoning absolutely determine moral behavior? What he found out was that the younger they are, the difference their behaviors are, and the difference their morality is. Right? So the question is how do we keep the students engaged and not get them lost in this discussion? Because you don't want to be up here just discussing the whole time. The longer I discuss, the more students I lose. So that's the reason why they're in the groups, so they can listen along as they first go over and find in our Chromebooks on the internet, they'll find Kohlberg's moral development, and then we'll go through the stages with them. And each group will be assigned a stage. All right? So the levels go with pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional with 6 stages. Obedience and punishment, individualism and exchange, interpersonal relationships, authority and social order, social contract, and universal principles. All right? And these are all based on their ages again. As each group will define what their stage is, The other groups will be writing down all 6 stages. So we're at the end of the class, they can hand me back what they have learned about the 6 stages of moral development. Simply on stage 1 or level 1, which is 9 and younger, they're going to find out that obedience and patience orientation is good to avoid punishment. At stage 2, individualism, and exchange, child recognizes that it is not just one right view. All right. Of course, now they're getting older as this happens. Though at first there's only one way. The second time now there's 2 ways. Stage 3 is good interpersonal relationship. Person is good in order to be sound good, or to be good. To be a good person, you have to be a good person. All right. Basically on stage 3. Stage 4, maintaining the social order. Person become aware of the wider rules of society. All right. Stage 5, social contract and individual rights. A person understands rules exist for the good of society and are willing to go against in different situations. And we're going to get back to that one really quick. And stage 6, universal principles. This is one of the stages that Kohlberg states that most do not get to, and it's a realization of their own moral questions. All right. So after we go through these stages, and each one of the groups go through these stages, I'm going to hand them out what they call the Heinz dilemma. All right. And the Heinz dilemma, I'll just read to you really quick. A woman was near death from a special kind of cancer. There was one drug that the doctors might have to save her. It was a form of radium that a druggist in the same town had recently discovered. The drug was expensive to make, but the druggist was charging 10 times what the drug cost him to produce. He paid $200 for the radium and charged $2,000 for one small dose of the drug. The sick woman's husband, Heinz, went to everyone he knew to borrow the money, but he could only get about $1,000, which is half of that cost. He told the druggist that his wife was dying and asked him to sell it cheaper or let him pay later. But the druggist said, "No, I discovered the drug and I'm not going to take money. I'm going to make money from it." So Heinz got desperate and broke into the man's store to steal the drug for his wife. All right? Should have Heinz stole the drug? And this is the questions that I ask these groups, and each group will answer differently. Here's the moral dilemma. You know, as stealing is stealing. All right? There's no way around that. But when does one crime, is it okay to break one crime in order to save a life? I guess is what Heinz's dilemma is. And in the 6 steps, the Heinz's dilemma is described, and we go through the moral steps also. Stage 1, we could see obedience. Obedience. Heinz should not steal. This is stage 1. Pretty simple. It's the law. He should not steal. Stage 2. Is self-interest. Heinz should steal the medicine. Because he'll be much happier that he saves his wife. All right, stage 3. Stage 3 is conformity. And it should be Heinz should steal.
I can't spell.
Heinz should steal the medicine because his wife expects him to. Because the wife expects it. All right, the last 3 stages, stage 4. Can you see over this way? Stage 4 is law and order, not the show. Law and order. Heinz should not steal the medicine because the law says no. Stage 5, we're almost there with the other stages. Stage 5 is human rights. Human rights. And Heinz should steal the medicine again. To save a life, a human life, not only his wife's. The last stage, stage 6, that most do not enter according to Kohlberg, is universal human. Universal human ethics. And again, Heinz should steal because it's ethical. It's ethical for him to steal. So after the students get these basic stages of moral development, then I'm going to ask them what they think. All right? Do they think these stages are right? And I would say that you're going to see a lot of difference between the girls and the guys. And there's a reason for this. Carol Gilman actually challenged Kohlberg's moral development. She said it was biased. And it was biased because it was all males. It was all white males. But she said that girls and guys develop at different, their morals develop differently. And she said that you can't use all guys for moral development. So she wanted to go back and use girls. Men are more focused on justice and law, she stated, while women are more focused on caring and providing for others. Actions that didn't necessarily allow for advancement into the higher stages of Kohlberg's moral development. Now, the problems with introducing this lesson is to keep it fast-paced, keep it moving, and that's the reason why I group the students into groups. Each one of these sections actually takes about 20 minutes. So you would go into 20 minutes of just them reading the story. Then you would go into 20 minutes of the moral stages of development, and then we go into 20-minute stages of Heinz's dilemma, and then be broke down accordingly. This was a really fast-paced, boom, hit you with a really fast lesson, but as it expands out, you would see more of the development and more of the student-led and then teacher-led. I would let them come up with all the discussion as I write this down on the board. But I want to make sure that you knew that I did know what the moral development was. Please post your comments and questions on my discussion board, and thank you very much.